The issue of childcare is just one of many problems facing women returning to work. The Institute for Women's Policy Research says women have been disproportionately affected by job losses since the pandemic started. It says the worst affected sectors are leisure and hospitality, education and health services, retail and professional and business services. Nicole Mason is the Institute's president. She joins us live now. So, Nicole, for women who have been forced to sort of stay at home and quit their jobs, take care of their children during this pandemic, whose careers have essentially stalled, how do they begin at this point to re-enter the workforce, do you think?
So for many women, the road ahead is going to be really hard and difficult because many women are, while they're trying to re-enter the workforce or in many instances find a new career, they're also juggling caretaking demands. Last week or over the last few weeks, schools across the country or across the United States have opened virtually. And so many parents, mothers who bore most of the caretaking responsibilities at home are also having to homeschool their children. So for many women, re-entering the workforce or being able to sustain employment will be difficult.
So if you're a single mother or you're a breadwinner parent, a mother as well, you know, or you're living below the poverty line as a mother, what is needed just in terms of government policies to make that transition back into the workforce that much easier?
That's a really good question. So for women who are able and can re-enter the workforce, childcare is critically important, or other supports that will allow them to not only re-enter the workforce, but be able to sustain employment. So right now, we don't have a really great plan in terms of providing childcare supports. There are some legislation and bills to get money to families who are in need of childcare support, but it's stalled right now in Congress. And so that's on so we have that on the other hand. But for other parents who just going back and re-entering the workforce is not an option because they're single mothers and they have to take care of their children, being able to provide for them, again, the extended unemployment insurance or the economic stimulus payments are really integral to keeping many families afloat. But as you know, Congress hasn't been able to reach a deal, leaving many families hanging in the balance.
And what will this mean for pay equity? Does it worsen the gap between men and women, just in terms of what people are being paid as a result of the fact that women have been out of the workforce? Some women have been out of the workforce now for that much longer. And what will it mean for minority women especially?
Well, so as we know, women have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic, and women of color specifically who you know, the pay gap for all women is 82 cents on the dollar, but for Black women and Latino women, it's about 64 cents on the dollar. And that really translates into cash in their pockets and cash to be able to take care of their families. And so those families are suffering disproportionately during the pandemic. And what we see is the deepening of existing inequalities, both income and wealth, and that it's going to take a long time for particularly Black women and women of color to be able to recover. And right now, unless we do something, there will be an uneven recovery.
So do you think there has been a true sort of deep understanding among men in this country about what this pandemic has really meant for women, especially women of color?
No, actually, I think our, men, women, Congress, we just were not prepared for this moment. And so we're still all trying to figure out what this means in this moment. But what we know is in 2008, for example, it was a manufacturing and production crisis and recession. And today, it's mainly impacting women. So the solutions and strategies that we employed in 2008 may not work now because they're different challenges, unique challenges that women face that men do not or did not during the 2008 recession. Childcare is one of those things. Pay gap and pay inequality is another issue. But also the fact that many of the jobs that have been lost are in lower wage jobs or jobs without benefits, which also means that if women get sick or need to take care of their families, they don't have paid leave or paid support so that they can do that, an off-ramp without fear of losing their job or becoming more economically vulnerable.
Right, yeah, so childcare policies helping women is important, as you mentioned, paid sick leave as well, and a whole host of other policies that are hopefully a stimulus bill in the future will address. Nicole Mason, president of the Institute for Women's Policy Research, thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us.